And bam. So Steve, how you doing? Let me go ahead and run this on, we're going to go push this to a live stream.
Hmm.
And as we do so, we could have a conversation. So this is Level Up, and my name is Dr. K, and I'm here with Steve Gamlin. And welcome back, Steve. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thank you so much for having me back on. It's great to revisit, and I've been following and cheering you on as you've been growing the show. So congratulations.
I so appreciate that. So it looks like the technology is working. And so I always give Zoom an applause. And of course, LinkedIn on the back end is working flawlessly. So those here on LinkedIn, welcome everybody. Of course, this is Dr. Kane. Welcome to another Wednesday night show. So Steve, this is I guess a bittersweet or some type of anniversary for you because you've been creating some content specifically for this week on LinkedIn and
Mhm.
I guess across your social media. So I usually do a lot of, introductory talk, but tell me, what is this anniversary all about? And let's go ahead and dive in.
It's actually not bittersweet at all. It's 100% sweet or
Okay.
unsweetened because at least then you don't gain weight with the unsweetened stuff, I guess. At the time of this broadcast, early May, is my 1 year anniversary joining an organization called Apex. And Apex's number one aim is to help you create the most elite version of yourself. And there's a lot of entrepreneurs there, business people there, people of all walks of life from all around the world. And tomorrow, at the time of the broadcast,
Mhm.
is my 1 year anniversary. Now, that was also because I invested so heavily in myself to become part of that organization. I said, you know what? We got to take this more seriously. At the time, I weighed 247 pounds, which is the heaviest I've ever been in my life. Even at 6'2", that was a lot for me.
Okay.
And was getting winded, running down to the mailbox and back up and having to stop when I get to the garage. And kind of figured that wasn't good either. So I
Okay.
said, I'm investing this much of myself. I need to take better care of my health, or I choose to. I don't need to. I choose to. I want to.
Mhm.
And that's also going to mean I think I'm ready to give up the nightly, what I refer to as the really tall rum and coke, which I had each night after dinner.
So you made a post, it may have been like Monday or something like that, because today's Wednesday, and
Yeah.
you gave almost like a laundry list of things that you didn't like about you, and that was
Yeah.
part of it.
Yeah. That was a
So
big
it
part of
was
it.
it was your weight, it was, and I'm not even going to mention alcoholism, but you
Yeah.
liked your rum and coke. That,
Yeah. I
that
had a
was kind
nice
of
tall
like,
one every night. And, it's funny. It wasn't an addiction so much. If I skipped a night, no big deal. It was a really lazy habit. At the end of the day, I just chose to relax and chill with a tall rum and coke. And believe me, it was about 50-50
50-50.
between the rum and the coke. So, matter of fact, a joke with my friends is, a couple months later, I've hardly had any soda even in the past year, very few. And I drank a can of Coke, which was just Coke. And I just thought, did they change the flavor? I liked it better when it tasted like coconut, like the rum. But it's funny how easy this year has. Yeah, I'll say it's been easy because it's just been one day at a time, which is a phrase often used inside of programs like
Yeah,
AA.
yeah. Mhm.
But it really was. Every day I'd wake up and said, I'm going to walk today. I'm going to work out today. I'm going to make fruit smoothies after my workout. I'm going to jump right into my work. I'm not going to fool around and waste a whole day on social media. I'm going to choose better food. One plate portions. That was a big thing for me. I used to just eat and you get a whole other plate and sometimes part of a third one. One plate portions.
Mhm.
And every day, just the little steps. And I'm down. I think this morning I was at 224 pounds. That's 23 pounds down, which feels really good.
Okay. Okay.
The energy's better. The head is clearer. My creativity's better. Now I'm getting back on stage. I feel better about myself being up in the public eye at in-person events again because I was not happy with how I looked. I see pictures now from a year ago that pop up in Facebook memory, and we got to be real careful with our self-talk. So I don't say, oh, look, there's me when I was a fat piece of crap. I say, wow, I was soggy.
Yeah, we're different back then, and
Because that
and
makes me
and
laugh. I just
yeah.
say, wow, man, I was soggy in that picture. So getting all new pictures done, videos, and just really just loving what this year has inspired me to create for myself.
So you something happened, and so change always requires sometimes a kick in the pants or just something pivotal in a person's life to say, "Hey, this has got to quit. And I'm thinking it's more than just you not being able to walk to the mailbox or walking to the mailbox and getting winded. There has to be more to that. There's got to be more to the story.
Yeah, there actually is. A couple of months prior to that, to me joining Apex, which was at the urging of a dear friend, Chris Whitehead, who's a mentor and a brother to me. We lost somebody very important to both of us. His name was Lonnie Robinson, and he passed away in early March of last year. Now, Lonnie handled all of my website, digital marketing, the creation of the website, my membership program, my vision board mastery program. He's the one that put it all online, and he passed away. Now, I knew how to manipulate the website. I know how to build pages, but it's not my core strength.
Right, right.
So I was adrift for about a month and a half. And then Chris reached out to me. He goes, "Hey, brother, I know we miss Lonnie so much. Where are you at? And where are you going to go from here?" I said, I'm really numb, and I'm just not in a great place. I'm nervous because of the growth that needs to take place in my business coming out of COVID. At the time was only 1 year in.
Mhm.
It decimated my revenue. 90% of my revenue was gone the first year.
Mhm.
And I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. And he said, "You know what? This is what Chris is great at." He goes, "I think it's time I introduce you to," and in this case, it was Apex. And I thought, oh, great. A bunch of alpha males sitting around thumping their chests, on the hoods of their Lamborghinis. Great. And he laughed. He says, "That's what a
Is
lot of
that what
people
your
think about
impression
it."
of? That
Oh
was
yeah, that
your
was my impression. It's a bunch of alpha dudes, flexing all the time. And that was from the outside. It's a pretty common, and I'm going to say it, misperception,
okay.
because they had an annual event. It's called the $1 Million Mastermind, and I wasn't able to attend in person. It's down in Dallas, but I could watch it virtually. And it took me all of 15 minutes with the first speaker on stage. And I said, now I get it. It's a brotherhood, sisterhood of people who are just phenomenally successful, or at least phenomenally driven to create their own success. And I thought, oh my gosh, the door opened and there's my tribe. It's exactly the people I need to be with right now to inspire me to get back up on the horse with my business and take it to new heights.
Well, good, good. I like that. But so it was your weight, rum and coke, the death of a good friend. What other things were going on that said something's because Apex was probably the facilitator of that change.
Mhm.
But what else was going on in your life to force that pivot? Anything else? Anything else going on with
Mostly
you?
me being sick and tired of feeling sick and tired, and like I wasn't going and growing as much as I could. I started to become one of those people that would say, I'm getting ready to get ready. When I launched this new program, and somebody would say, "Weren't you going to launch that 6 months ago?" "Yeah, I'm trying to make it perfect. I want to make it just right. I just want to tinker with it a little bit. I am a world-class tinkerer if you give me enough time. Give me a deadline and I'll come screaming in with my hair on fire right at the last minute."
Ah,
But without a deadline, when left to my own with one of my mentors gone, stuff was dragging out. And I kept justifying it, saying, "Well, I just want to do this little change to it. Oh, I just want to change this web page for it. I just want to change this funnel. I just want to do this." And I finally realized, man, I'm not getting anywhere. I'm just in the mud here with
mhm.
all these excuses, wanting to be back on stage, wanting to be growing the business, wanting to be growing my coaching programs. And what's happened in the past year was the weight loss. My business is built. My pricing is now where it should be, where it's taken seriously, which is 10 times what it was a year ago.
Okay.
That was a big part. I didn't feel it was worth the price that we had originally talked about. So I never changed it until this year. I changed it. And wouldn't you know, the world started to take it more seriously and actually started to invest in me, and they started doing the work.
Cool. But the work is still going on with you. And so this week, because this weight issue is such a big deal, and you're still speaking about it, you even posted some pictures on LinkedIn. So what is that all about? And what's the high five all about? And so you've actually mentioned it, I think, twice already, that
Yeah.
you're high fiving a wall, and which
Yep.
is really unique. I've not known anybody to talk about that. We usually high five each other or at least give ourselves a fist bump,
Yeah.
but you're high fiving a wall.
Yeah,
Talk to
high
me.
five on a concrete wall in my basement. Up here in New Hampshire, where I live, we live out in the woods of a small town. During the winter, we have no street lights, we have no sidewalks, so it's very dangerous to walk during the winter. So I kind of gave up walking for a little bit. And one day I said, "Hold on, we got a good sized house with a good sized footprint of the basement. If I start here in the recording studio and walk into the basement, I put my hand in the furnace, I touch that. I walk past my workbench, I touch that. I go out into the garage, go around my wife's car, touch the brush chipper in front of her car, come back, get to the bottom of the basement stairs, high five the concrete wall, and go back to my studio and touch the little wall behind me."
Right.
I got a Fitbit on, and one day I said, "I wonder how many times around the basement it's going to take to
Okay.
make a mile."
And that's
And it turns out
5,280 feet, right?
exactly. It
Okay.
turned out, thank you, Fitbit, for doing the math. It takes 29 of those laps around the basement. So I high five that wall 29 times. Every single time I high five that wall and high five it. And I keep an eye on the Fitbit and it tells me when I've hit a mile. I'll listen to some classic rock songs to get started because at 5:30 in the morning, I got to jumpstart the brain with something I really like.
Right.
I'll switch over to some positive podcasts or maybe an audio book. And all of a sudden, I find it's effortless to walk a mile. So I'm chugging along. All of a sudden, I realize it's a mile. Great. High five that wall the last time. Take off the wrist weights and the ankle weights, pop them on the bench. Get a couple little throw rugs down here. I get the ab roller, doing the ab roller.
And I
I
think that
got
was
a
your picture today or something like that.
that was yesterday. Yeah, I set
Okay.
up a picture to catch my eyes. I think peeking over the top of the
Right.
ab roller. It was kind of a cool shot. I thought I was going to fall over getting the timing right. But then I got a little workbench and some dumbbells, so I do little arms and some chest exercises. My wife Tina surprised me at Christmas. Her company gave her a little bit of assistance, so she invested in a Peloton cycle in the classes, which I absolutely love.
Okay.
So what I used to do to drive 25 minutes to the gym, work out for maybe 20 or 30 minutes, and drive 25 minutes home and not get much of an impact. I'm working out for an hour to an hour and a half, at least 5 days a week here at the house, loving it. And every time I high five that wall, I'm getting closer. I'm getting closer. I'm getting closer. And it's just because becomes such a symbol of progress and celebrating the incremental progress, which is so critical, especially when people start setting their goals. Like if I had said at 247 pounds, my target weight is 210.
Okay.
And I've got a scrap of paper with hashtag 210 on it. It's taped to the underside of the ductwork on the basement ceiling right above my weight bench. So I connect with that every day. But if I waited till I hit 210 to celebrate the journey, oh my gosh, that's a long time between celebrating.
Mhm.
So I celebrate the laps. I celebrate when I lose a couple of pounds. Now I don't celebrate by eating a pie. That's what some people they celebrate.
Right.
I've known people that have gone a year without alcohol and they celebrated by getting loaded. That's not on the horizon either. I celebrate appropriately, but
S-
celebrating those little increments. The high
Right.
five was just the first part, and every day it makes me smile just doing that. And I love it.
So that was true because today's post was all about celebrating what you called the wins. Celebrate the wins.
Yeah.
And I know Mitch Gray has talked about that before, and now you're talking about it. And it's the incremental elements. It's the small pieces.
Yeah.
It's not just those big long-term goals. Maybe it's your daily goal. Maybe it's your weekly goal. Maybe it's something that you just have to do to get to the next step. You got to celebrate that. You got to make sure that that is an important milestone that you've reached. So, how many of these small wins are you celebrating? How does that work for you?
I celebrate them often because I keep a gratitude journal every
Okay.
day. Not only my own journal, which I've been keeping now for 10 years. Each morning, I'll write down my 3 favorite moments from the previous day. And sometimes it's, hey, I had a great workout, high five the wall 29 times. So I don't do that every day, but I'll drop it in now and then.
Mm.
Part of Apex, they have this thing called the G code, and it's the 4 major areas of life. It's gratitude, it's your group, your family, and these other things. And there's an online app for that. And the first thing every day at the top of it is 5 more gratitudes.
Mm.
So I'm doing 8 gratitudes a day. If I work out and I eat well, that's a point. You can get a maximum of 4 points per day. And in 364 days, I believe I'm at 1,240 points. So
Now, do
it's a
you
very
cash these points
consistent.
in for something or?
No,
Okay.
nope. It's just a matter of knowing that you've been dedicated enough, you develop the habits, you're consistent, you're building momentum, and it feels so great. And I remember the first week, I said, "Hey, I've got 8 points," and somebody else that day said, "Hey, I just hit 3,000." I'm like, "I got some work to do." But you can't. It's like an old wooden roller coaster. You can't skip up that first hill. You got to click, click,
Yeah.
click, click every day. And I'm very proud of the fact that I'm at 1,240 points. On the Peloton, my goal for the year is 2,400 total miles. And I remember wheezing the first day when I hit 4.5 miles, and the instructor said, "Okay, that's it for our warm up." And I'm pretty sure I gave the screen the finger at that very moment as I was wheezing and red faced and couldn't breathe. But now I'm up over this morning. Actually, I passed 700 miles since mid January so far.
Beautiful.
And it just feels good every day. At the end of the Peloton ride, I check and just see what my cumulative miles are to make sure I'm on track. Because I don't want to be one of those people in December who says, "Oh, my goal was this." Well, I only have to bike, let's see, only 92 miles a day until Christmas to hit my goal. That ain't gonna happen.
Right.
I want to be consistent all the way through. And I'll tell you what, this has been in some ways the greatest year of my life at now age 54. This is the happiest version of me there's ever been. It's certainly the most focused and the most connected to what I'm doing and why is huge.
And that was part of our first conversation a couple weeks back, was that you are in the process of becoming, which is something that my mentor kind of instilled in me a long, long time ago. We're always in that process, but you wanted to achieve your best you. Whatever that phraseology that you're using, you wanted to achieve it. And so, and now you're in that space. It sounds like you're in that space, well, one, physically, two, emotionally,
Yeah.
three, in your relationships, because I know you talk about your Tina, you're the love of your life, and you talk
Yeah.
about her with a great smile on your face. And so that's working. Your business is now in a space where it needs to be. And so things are just kind of clicking and making sense for you. And that's really powerful. And so one of the things I like to ask coaches such as yourself is,
Mhm.
who are then with your frame of reference, and now with your being in the best place that you are, how are you making that impact on others, and who are you trying to make that impact on? Who's your niche? Who's your focus? Who are you helping?
As far as clients go, my
Yeah.
biggest audience are people generally from their mid 30s up until their early 60s, especially with what we've all gone through over the past couple of years. People were downsized or people were having to work from home or doing a hybrid model. I've had more people reach out to me and say, "Steve, all of a sudden I realized I don't want to go back to that life." A big question is that all there is?
Yeah.
Now that people had to take a step back. I mean, so many people say, "Well, someday I'm going to make changes or I'm going to do this," but we get settled, we get in our little track, and we kind of get, in a way, stuck a bit. But
Mhm.
it's familiar, so it's not scary enough or bad enough for us to go unleash a new us.
Mhm.
But when people had to climb out from that and could take a really honest look at it, I've heard so many people say, "Steve, I don't want to go back to that. What else is there? Is that all there is? Oh my God, what else could I do?" So I'm having conversations now, just doing my best to show people that there are other ways out there. Does it mean you quit your former career and go off and weave baskets in the sunshine on a beach somewhere? No, it does not. It doesn't even mean you have to quit your old job. It just means in the other 8 areas of your life, you start taking steps for improvement. You realize the people that are most important to you and realize how much maybe you were neglecting them in the past. You weren't connected to them even during the day. So what I'm working with now is people all around that life wheel, intentionally including those parts of their lives to give them a more fulfilled existence, to feel connected to more than just punching that clock every day, sitting at that desk, banging the keys. There's more to life than that. I'm sorry. So many people die within a year or two of retirement. And what was their plan that whole time in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s? I can't wait till I retire. Then I can enjoy my life.
Mhm.
That is the biggest thief of our
Life.
existence and
Yeah.
potential
Yeah.
of our life. That is the biggest thief, is that mindset. The someday I'm going to do this, or I'm going to have this. Well, I wasn't taking care of myself physically. My physical health was bad. And somebody asked me a week ago, hey, Steve, what would be your biggest regret if you died today?
Hmm.
My biggest regret would be not being able to grow old with my Tina and take care of her. And that's why a year ago, I made the decision to do that.
Good.
And now I feel so much better. And I look forward to growing old with her. And also kind of inspired in a way by the last 8 or 10 years of my dad's life before he passed away. I don't want to be a burden in any way. Not that he was a burden, but to him, he was,
Hmm.
because he wasn't able to do stuff physically around the house or the yard. I don't want to cause that to Tina ever.
Is she listening?
No, she's upstairs. She won't come anywhere near a camera. She'd blush 20 shades of red. Her cheeks would be brighter than that red recording light behind me.
Well,
She loves
this
our
is
story,
going,
but she hates to hear me talk about it because she gets all embarrassed and red faced.
well, this is going to go on YouTube tomorrow. So she can hear the replay.
Yeah.
But in the same way, I just wanted to say that I'm having conversations with people all over the world practically. And these are, well, these are directed conversations, but the information I'm getting is unsolicited, in that people are fearful, they're stressed, they're afraid, and even the word burned out is used.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily because of the pandemic, but the pandemic definitely accelerated these feelings, these frustrations, these anxieties, these stressors.
Mm.
And they have caused, especially the people that I've talked to, and I don't know if that's any special link or not, in that they had two options, or at least they have identified two options. One, the easy option was to get medicated, either legally through a doctor, or illegally in some way, form, or another,
Mm.
um, to alleviate the symptoms of the burnout, the stress, and the frustration. It's easy to medicate that. We don't want to feel bad. The body, can use chemicals to make it feel better. The people that I'm talking to are choosing another method. They're choosing to actually make changes in their life. Now, you just said it may not be, oh, do I quit this job and do something else? But for some, it is. It's
Mhm.
definitely that. It was, I don't have to do X, Y, Z, making this amount of money. It's not fulfilling. It's not fulfilling to me personally. It's not aligned with my passions or with my morals or my values. And they start making changes. For some,
Mm.
it's just personal. For some, it's spiritual. And 2 weeks ago, Mitch called it the Great Awakening. I said, oh my God, now it has a name.
Yeah.
But the thing is, people are choosing to be better. People are choosing to make changes. People are choosing to be healthy in every way that means.
Yeah.
So I like that you have said that you are making intentional changes. You have to. And for right now, it seems to be both for yourself and for other people. You mentioned it, you don't want to be like your dad as a burden as he saw
Mhm.
himself. And you
Yeah.
want to be there for Tina, which
Yeah.
is fantastic.
Yeah.
So what changes are in the forefront? There's a whole lot of 2022 left to go. So where's 22 taking you?
Getting back on stage at in-person events. Oh my gosh. I was on a stage, let's see, it was actually 2 weeks ago tonight. For the
Cool.
first time in 27 months, I was in a room with actual real people in a very small audience. It was a very intimate event, but oh, I got up there and I had so much fun. We each only got 15 minutes. So it was a wonderful little event. It was almost like a little TEDx type of event, whereas I believe 6 speakers. We each had short presentations. Oh, that felt so good to be back on stage. And I told somebody afterward, they said, Steve, what's different now? I mean, how do you feel about finally being back on stage? And I said, I'm actually very grateful for the pandemic right now. I'm very
That's a
grateful for
first.
the past 2 years because it made me become a better speaker. That I've been sitting for 2 years, staring into a small camera and having to convey the emotion and the message and the style without walking around the stage and without the physicality that I would have.
Mhm.
I've been doing this for 2 years. And when I got on stage last week, I was a better speaker than I was 27 months ago. I felt it and I saw the video and I said, wow, I can see what the past 2 years of having to be very intentional and connective in a small way have done for me being on a stage. So now I'm looking forward to more events, bigger events, getting back out there and hitting the road. And I've already been in contact with my speaker agent, and she said, we're getting a new webpage together, a new video, some new headshots. We're going to get me back out there. And I miss it so, so much. I miss the actual physical connection of eyeball to eyeball, whether someone's in the front row or all the way
Yes.
in the
Yeah.
back,
Yeah.
when I say something and they nod and they
Mhm.
don't even know they're doing it. And I feel that connection. I miss that so much. Really do.
I love it. Well, now I'm envious because I would like to be in your spot someday, not to take your spot, but to kind of be in that same space.
Come on up. There's plenty of room for all of us. I'm serious. I don't get competitive about speaking.
I don't
I
have an
love it when
agent.
people say they want to speak. Oh, you don't need an agent, believe me. By the time you need an agent, but put it this way, by the time you're popular enough or successful enough that an agent will talk to you,
Uh-huh.
you don't need an agent. It's a weird catch 22. I just happen to have found an amazing woman named Nancy Vogel who reached out to me years ago because I wished her well when she relaunched her agency. And she thought that was so thoughtful that she kept her eye on me. And she says, I know you're not where you want to be yet, but I want to be here for you. And I want to advise you and, kick you in the butt now and then when I think you need it, if that's okay with you. And I said, I'm great with that. And
Cool.
she's been an amazing, dear, just loved friend and cherished friend more than anything else. So we're hitching the wagon back up, but we're going to get back out there and do some cool stuff.
That's excellent. Steve, thank you so much for your time today. Once again, I'm grateful for your time and the impact, not only that you make, on my life, but everybody that you come in contact with. If you don't mind, can you stay on the call and let me disconnect from
Sure.
LinkedIn? Okay, everybody on LinkedIn and everybody on YouTube, thank you so much for your time today. Hopefully you found value in my conversation. This is Level Up with Dr. K and my guest, Steve Gamlin. Take care, everybody.